Hello and welcome to Barry Interesting. I'm your host, Barry Aycock. The Kennett tennis team just completed an amazing season with a 21-0 run on their way to the state championship. It's my honor and privilege to welcome assistant coach Hannah Hunter. Hannah, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And head coach Janet Hilburn. Janet, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And welcome to Barry Interesting. Well, thank y'all for coming to the show today. It's really exciting times at Kennett. Y'all kind of put the community in the area on the map with the state championship, 21-0. It kind of sounds impossible, but Coach, you are very well kept secrets in the coaching industry. Coach Hilburn, you've had a great career at Kennett over the past 3 decades, but a lot of people don't know about it. Tell us about this amazing, dynamic, some people might even say dominant coaching career at Kennett.
I have been fortunate to be a head coach of the Indians for 28 years. And we've always been competitive in the tennis community. It all goes back to you have to rebuild a team to get it to where it needs to be, to compete with the tougher schools, the tennis schools, the communities that have more opportunities than Kennett. But finally, it has all come together, and we finally won the state championship this year.
So you're alumni at Kennett, correct?
Yes.
Or is it alumnus? Alumni or alumnus? You're one or the other.
Yes, sir.
So did you play tennis at Kennett? Did they have a tennis program when you were at Kennett?
Yes. I started playing the summer before my freshman year, played 4 years there, and then went on to Arkansas State and played 4 years as an Indian at Jonesboro.
So you're like a tennis pro, so they were lucky to have someone already there in the community that was a tennis pro. So 28 years, 15 district titles, 3 trips to the Final Four, 2 fourth-place finishes in 2012 and 2013, and a state championship in 2021. Career record of 291 and 74. Wow. That's amazing.
Pretty amazing. Exciting. A lot of times other people have to tell me, how many wins and how many losses. I've just always been one of those that I get the work done on the court. I've got to get the work ethic, the attitudes, the strength, everything in the girls, and then the results will take care of itself.
So I've been learning from Coach about the brackets, the schools. It's a lot different than basketball and football. I mean, I consider Kennett a really big school, but in tennis, they're a small school, correct?
Yes. Back in the day when we did go to state tennis, it was just for individual purposes. They didn't have a team thing, and we would always take people individually, and you would see Kennett up there on the bracket. Well, nobody would know. So in between when we were playing, they'd always say, "Where's Kennett?" And we would say, "Well, you know that thing that hangs down into Arkansas? That's called the Boot Hill." No, don't know about it. And it took several trips before they would know where Kennett was. And as we got into the 2000s, and then it got up to 2009, 10, they started knowing that's a little town over in the Boot Hill of Missouri, cotton for as far as you can see, fields, and not a lot. How do you all become tennis players from over there? And I just said through a lot of hard work.
And Coach, the reason it's a well-kept secret is because I've been learning that mainly private schools win the state championship, correct? Public schools usually don't win the tennis state championship.
Right. Until just recently, last couple of years, and still so today, private schools are mixed in. But the opportunities of private school, they have a chance, and it is in other sports where they can recruit and get people there, but it's just a lot harder. Being from Kennett, we don't have like a tennis facility as far as going to take lessons, going to have people to do extra than just the amount of time that we spend, which is a lot in the practices. We have to always travel. Same thing for when we go to matches. Nobody wants to come down to the very bottom of the state because Missouri's a huge state, and even going to the center of it, it takes 3 hours, 4 hours to get there. So everywhere we do, and anything we do, we have to travel. So.
And you have the arch nemesis, I found out, is Cape Notre Dame. That's kind of your rival, it sounds like.
Yes, when Cape, several years ago, started a tennis team, they were put in our class. And they've been in our class ever since. And they have been very competitive with us. And you know, their goal kind of every year is to beat Kennett, and that's our goal. Now, early into my career, the ones that we wanted to beat, Dexter and Cape and Jackson, and lots of tennis schools that we have been able to beat pretty much on a consistent basis, year in and year out nowadays. But you know, when I tell my girls the stories of, we used to get beat by these teams, they just, you know, they can't believe it. And I'm just like, yes, that you just have to keep on. You have to stay consistent with your program. You have to stay consistent with your workouts. You have to continue to work hard. You can't let up. It's just like any other sport. And so that's what they have done.
Well, Coach, you were 21-0 this year, so you got revenge on every single one of them this year, right?
Oh, it was nice. If you'd asked me in the summer if we were going to be undefeated, I would have told you no, because they did say, how's your team going to be this year, Coach Hilburn? Because last year you got beat by some of the powerhouse teams, and I said, we're going to be better. I said, we're going to be better than this last year, but I'm not for sure how well. Wait till the season starts, let us play a couple of matches, and I'll get back with you. And they would laugh. And so as we got to going and we beat one of the teams that beat us last year, I said, there's a chance. There's a chance we're going to be better. Well, as the season went on and we got up to like 17, 18 wins, I told the girls, I said, I just wish you'd get me my 20th win. And so when we got it, one of the girls says, we got you 20, but there's one more to go, Coach. So it was pretty exciting. They did their job, and I was really proud of them.
And I hate to say this, but the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Coach Hunter, how long have you been assisting Coach Hilburn in the tennis program at Kennett?
7 years.
7 years.
I've got to volunteer my first year teaching at Kennett, and so I guess 8 kind of, but 7 years being under the assistant.
So what's your background with tennis?
I played in high school. She was my tennis coach. She was my second grade teacher. She was my middle school basketball coach, and she was my tennis coach.
Y'all go way back.
Way back.
And now I get to coach under her, and it's an honor to get to coach. And she was someone I've always looked up to, and now getting to win a big state title, and it's just really neat getting to have that experience.
You've really got to see it from a unique angle. You got to see it as a second grader. You've got to see it as a tennis player. Now you've got to see it as a coach. You've had a front row seat to her success. How does that make you feel?
I feel blessed, and I'm thankful to get to always have someone to say that I've gotten to win a big state title, and someone that I've always looked up to. It's just very neat.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you first. Let's talk about this year's team. When did you realize that you had something special with this team? I mean, you didn't know you had a state championship like you just stated the first 2 or 3 games of the year. When did you realize it started meshing?
Well, we all practice and we just have a good time and together, and it just, Janet killing them with the tennis balls on the ball machine all the time, and you know, we just stayed on them, and it was just fun to get to watch all the girls grow and get even better, and then now win. It was neat.
I kind of see the personalities here, good cop, bad cop, far as coaching. So when she's chewing them out and getting on to them, you're patting them on the back. Is that right?
You know it.
Hannah's always been the one that if there was an issue, you know, they had an injury or something, they would go to Hannah to kind of get the feel of how I was going to take things. And she would break the ice very lightly and say, hey, this is what's going on. And so then I was ready for when something was coming up. But Hannah, she's a great assistant coach. She's one of those that the girls like, and just like you said, I'm the hard-nosed, get on to. Hannah wants to be the friend and keep everybody happy, and it works out well.
So when they come to you with the problem or something, you go see Coach Hunter.
No, they always approach Coach Hunter first.
And I always get scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? But
So
I always figure it out.
when does, like, you can't just start the season and be state champions. I'm sure you practice year-round. What's your year-long schedule?
We do not practice year-round. We start right after school is out, and we're allotted so many days in the summer with the MSHA guidelines. But some of the girls that are wanting to be better, wanting to get that extra practice, which that's what you've got to do with any team these days, they'll start early spring. Some of them will go out of town to take lessons. Some of them will do the extra workouts where they're indoor courts. Of course, Kennett does not have those, and like I said, we do have to travel, but they may not be involved in a winter sport, which allows them to do things like that. Ones that are involved in a winter sport, they may work out in the gym to get stronger. They may work out as far as getting in shape or to stay in shape for when we're ready for workouts.
It's a year-round commitment, though. To
That
be
is.
state champion, you have to be committed.
Yes, yes.
So besides the fact that they won the state championship, what makes this team different? What makes this team special?
Well, it's just a unique type of team this year, and it's really kind of crazy because I had 3 varsity members come back for this team. One was a freshman, so she came and she was straight from middle school. But she worked hard, she earned her spot. I had one girl that had been on the team 2 years, and she was injury prone. And got here, she had worked in the off season because she doesn't do a winter sport, and made the team. And then the last remaining spot was from a girl that played junior varsity for me last year, and she worked, and she would come out in the 100-degree heat all summer and worked, and on days I didn't even know she was out there, but she would be out there. What makes them so unique is they're competitive, but they're not like your typical crazy athlete. And everything was, yes, they knew what hard work was. Yes, they would do, whatever I was asking of them. But they did it with a kind of an attitude of, we're going to do this and we're going to get better. But their mindset was they had no pressure on them, no stress. They just went out and they played and they had fun. And if you don't know anything about tennis, you have to have the mental game. And when they didn't get stressed out about things and just went out and had fun, they performed much better.
So my kids are 16 and 12, my sons, they just started playing tennis 3 weeks ago, so I've got a good contact to get them on the right path. So I'll be leaning on y'all for all the advice. For members of our audience who may not know, tell us how a high school tennis team match is played.
Well, it's a little different from state to state, and it's different as far as if you watch it on TV and the U.S. Open. A varsity tennis match consists of 9 points. In order to win, you have to have 5 of those. It consists of 6 singles on the varsity level and then 3 doubles. And sometimes you begin with singles, sometimes you begin with doubles. It doesn't really matter. It's how, if you win a doubles match, that's 1 point. Whoever gets 5 will win the match. That's not, you could win them all, but you have to have at least 5 points.
And you have 6 varsity players?
6
so
varsity
all 6
members.
of them play a single match then?
Correct.
Do you have a player that's just downright dominant for this area?
Well, Annelle Harris, she has been my #1 player for the last 3 years, and she has worked hard and been there, so she's pretty dominant. She's the leader on the team. As the years have gone, as her sophomore and as her junior, she has taken some by the hand, and it has helped out. You know, good teams, they don't become good teams without good leadership. And she started it out, and when she got some to follow in her footsteps, it's really helped. It takes the load off of Hannah and I, and that's why we've been so successful.
So she was a coach on the court too then?
Yes, she's been with us a long time.
Your experience at the Final Four required some steady nerves. I mean, I'm sure it was nerve-wracking, but in a few of the early matches, your team dug themselves a big hole, and they had to climb out of a hole. So even in the state championship, it wasn't a done deal. So tell us how your team persevered through the state championship, because they were losing matches early. They had to pull out some amazing wins to clinch the state championship. Tell us about that and what you were going through, and I'm going to ask you the same question.
Well, when we got there, we knew there were 4 teams. There were 2 public teams, school teams. There were 2 private school teams. And we went against the other public school team first in the semifinals. We got going. The kids, besides Annelle probably, Audrey a little bit, before we started, they really didn't realize how big this was. You know, they thought, we've made it, we're the top 4 teams of the state. They just didn't really understand how big. So I thought that was going to be good in our advantage, because they were going to have fun. We've made it this far. If we make it further, that's great. If we don't, we've still exceeded our goal, which was true. And we got, as we were warming up, and I was kind of going across the field, checking out our opponents, I looked and I thought, this is going to be pretty even, Steven. This is going to come down to the last nitty-gritty match. And as we did, it got to be like 1-1. And then
she was texting me, and I was texting her.
And it got to where my nerves, I thought, oh gosh, can I do this? And I kept saying, Lord, I'm going to have your help. I got to have your help. So I had Hannah over at 2 matches, and I said, just stay there and keep giving me updates. I'm going to go back and forth with these others and see if I can pull them through it. And as in the semifinals, as it got down to the last 2 matches, Annelle was struggling, but I was just hang on. Just keep on in there. Just keep on playing the points. And right before that was a deciding match, my number 4 girl, Christy Tejeda, won. So that was over. And I was just in awe. I just couldn't believe it. The girls were jumping for joy, but no one was more excited than I was. And went over, and we had to take a break. They said you had like an hour break. And I couldn't write down the score. I was just beside myself. We've won something we've never done before.
You got over the hump.
Oh, we had gotten over the hump, and Macy Basil, she just kept looking at me saying, Janet, we won. We got you your 20th win. And she just kept on. She says, it's okay. It's fine now. Quit shaking. So we went and we ate. We came back, and I told the girls, I said, girls, win, lose, or draw, we've done great. I've prepared you. I've got our mindset. We've got our game plan. You have done what I've asked of you. And I said, go out there, play your best. And I said, the rest will take care of itself. And I said, but make sure if you're going for a ball, you just throw your body on it. And I said, because this is your last match. And so we got out there, and they introduced the players. And we had heard about this private school, Westminster, and how they'd had somebody come back from injury, how this person had not lost but 1 or 2 all year. This team had not been beaten. And it didn't faze them. So as I'm looking across the field, once again, I'm like, I think we can take this one. I think we can take this one. And of course, I was trying to figure out where our 5 points were coming. Audrey and Annelle had been, they hadn't been in a slump, but they hadn't been playing their best doubles because they're singles players. And that day they came out, they were just new people. I didn't know where they had come from. It was like, oh my gosh. And Audrey, she's kind of our nervous person on the team. And I just kept telling, we need you, we need you. She went out, played like a champ. The others, the thing about this team was, if they weren't playing, if they weren't bringing in the points, they were cheerleading, they were encouraging. Everybody had a job on the team, and if they weren't doing the playing part, they knew what their job was. And they did it to a T. They did it perfectly. And we got down to the last match, and it was Macy Basil, and it was 4-4. And she had struggled early on in the match, and then she let the girl come back, and then she came, and it came down to a tiebreaker. And before that match, the girls were on pins and needles, and I thought, I'm the coach. I've got to go give her a game plan. So I went over there and I said, Macy, all year you've been after me. You do this, Janet. You do this, Janet. And I said, now I'm asking something of you. You go out there, you keep positive, you do everything you've got to play every point. And if you don't win, but you play your best, I'm going to be proud of you. And the whole time she was doing, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And not one time did she doubt me. Did she say, I don't know if I can do it? But not one time. And when I went off the court, I said, she's got it. She's ready. And sure enough, she showed us. So it was just so exciting. The nerves, oh my gosh, I just can't even describe the nerves. You just have to be there. You have to be in that position to understand nerves.
I actually don't have to be there. I've got chills listening to your story. I'm on the edge of my seat.
It still makes me nervous thinking about it.
There probably wasn't a dry eye left. Everybody was on pins and needles. Everybody was stressed out. It was fun seeing the parents because I had been stressed all season at different tournaments and things. I was wanting my kids to do more and more, but seeing the parents stressed out on the edge of their seat, it was great. It was just great.
These girls met the moment. It sounds like some of them were having out-of-body experiences. They were in a slump, but they played their best game.
They did. It was unreal. I just kept saying, girls, it's a God thing. It's a God thing. Because early in the season, I had doubted, are we peaking now? Because we had won the CMO Conference Tournament. I wasn't expecting to win. You know, that CMO Conference Tournament, sometimes it's the luck of the draw. We weren't seated first in doubles and singles all the way through. It's the luck of the draw. We had won the district. In some of these tournaments we had been in, it's the luck of the draw. You know, when they draw your name out of the hat, if you're right on the bracket, you know, it makes all the difference. And same thing here. And it just, you just have to be there.
Well, I feel like I'm there now, but you got me on the edge of my seat right now. So where was the state championship held at?
It was in Springfield, and that's one of the misfortunes of being from a little town over in Kennett. The facilities, you have to travel, so not a lot of traveling was made. We are a small team. We did have a great crowd there, though. Even the people that had to travel to the football game that night said, we kept getting updates back and forth, back and forth. And after it was over, I had heard, well, so-and-so kept texting me play by play. We were sitting in the motel room. We were sitting here. There was lots going on in Kennett. I just thought to myself, I don't know how anybody could have been texting. I mean, there was no time for that. I was, you know, right on that court. I could barely even get the messages from Hannah. And I was sending people left and right just to give me messages because it was just so nerve-wracking.
It's a cliffhanger too, wasn't it?
It was. Oh, it was. Both of them.
So Coach Hunter, she's already answered that question way too good. I'm not going to ask you to follow up. So what did this mean to the community, the region? I mean, I'm sure you've had an outpouring of support because now people are probably more interested in tennis all of a sudden, right?
They are. I think the community, they've just really supported us. The school, we had a breakfast even before our other state getting to go to state as individuals, and the school had a big breakfast for us, and then on our going to state as a team, all the schools, we got to go around all the schools, and they made signs for us, and all the kids were so excited to see us. It was a good experience, and the community is just very, very supportive.
It's a big deal when
Yes.
somebody wins a state championship. Has Kennett ever won the state championship in anything before?
Baseball they did, and they have been in the Final Four in softball, and maybe even won that. But
And the baseball team's really good, I heard. So you may have some competition within your own
oh,
school.
anything that will get Kennett out and in the news in a positive way, we're all for it.
Well, congratulations. The whole region's proud of you. We're proud of you, and I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Yes.
28 years, I think it was. That's quite an accomplishment. You're finally over the hump, but you're too young to retire. So there's
She's not retiring
many more to
anytime
come.
That's what everybody says. We'll see.
Expectations are high now. So does the team look like you can repeat next year?
Well, the girls were asking us that. I'm
to
not
be
going to
continued.
make. That's right. We'll wait until we get our rackets back out after our short break and get going and working for next season.
Coach, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks
Proud
for
of
having
you.
us.
Proud of all your accomplishments for the area.
Thank you.
And thank you for being on the show.
Appreciate it.
It's an honor for us for you to be here. We've gotten to know these young ladies a little bit today here at A-Corp Media Studios. They're a talented group, 21-0, state champion Kennett Indians. And Coach is going to introduce the players as they come into the studio.
Playing our number one position this year was Annelle Harris. She's been there for 3 years, and she's a senior. Christy is a first-year varsity member and playing the number 4 position as a sophomore. Hanley McAtee is our lone freshman that is playing the number 3 position this year. Macy Basil played number 5 position and is a junior. Malia Lack was a senior playing the number 6 singles position. And Audrey Phillips has been the number 2 position for the last couple of years on varsity.
And that's your 2021 state champs, 21-0. Congratulations, girls.
Thank you.
I would like to thank the ladies of the Kennett Indians tennis team for joining me today on Very Interesting. 21-0, undefeated, the state champs 2021. Thank you.